Hey, good morning, everybody. Um, I know I said I was only going to do a weekly video, but we got kind of a special event happening today. So today is the very first Altar of Darkness in Lost Kingdom #1. So I wanted to make sure that we covered that and we got, at least some kind of setup and pre-work done there. And also waking up from last night, I felt like, man, there's a couple of people that I kind of dragged that yeah, I felt like just a tiny inkling bad for. I mean, not really, but you know, it it allows me to make some apologies anyway because if you can't do that, then you suck. So let's get going, and we'll kick it off right after this badass intro that I made. All right, welcome back. So, for anybody that doesn't know, if you've missed episode 1 and 2, uh, we are in Lost Kingdom #1. This is, maybe the biggest KVK in rock history. It's a ton of stuff going on. Massive kingdoms. Let me just pull that up here. So on each side, you've kind of got your A kingdoms and your B kingdoms. The format for this KVK was AABB. And for our side, we have 1177 and 1341 are our A kingdoms. 77 is formed with, mainly two powerful alliances. That's just the way they set it up. 1341 is very expansive. They're large. They have a ton of troops. And then our B kingdoms 27 and 1027 and 1321. On the other side, you have 1331, which is really kind of equivalent, maybe even slightly larger than 1341. These are the two biggest kingdoms by far in this KVK. They're just have a ton of active players. And then 1093. So Kingdom 93 has a long history. They've been around obviously since nearly the beginning as a 1000 series kingdom. They've been through a lot of war. They've got a lot of really good players, and overall, like they've really done good. You have 1012 and 1101. And 1101, the only reason I know anything about them is because they kept my poor guy Alex hostage. So the Free Alex movement, I think we were successful. He's now left and is in like Kingdom 1407. So, but we did create some merchandise, which I showed, I think, last night. So if you want some Free Alex gear, head on over. Like I'll add one of those little like card thingies up at the top, like pretty much right here, whenever this video actually posts. So you can go do that. But in just a little bit, the altar is going to open, and we are going to kick off like it's gonna be hellacious fighting for probably hours. All right, come on, render. There we go. So it doesn't open for 3 hours and 40 minutes. And you can already see that 93 is already forming their little defensive ball. So all infantry, probably going to be a ton of Richards, yep. And what they do is an infantry and a AoE. Well, Andy didn't get the message, but I mean, pretty much everybody else did. So the tactic here being used is they don't move. They don't actually attack you, so their ball doesn't break. They just form into this stack, and then when you go charging in and hit them, their AoE starts proccing, and then it wipes you out. It's pretty hardcore. So what you have to do in these instances is switch your tactics up. So you can either surround it and AoE it down, or you can do single attack marches, not with AoE. So like a, let's say who you might use. So this one would be a good opportunity to use like an Edward Tomiris, especially against infantry. That way you're only hitting one and it does not proc all this other AoE. So these guys are lining up, I mean, like almost, 3.5 hours early. So it's probably going to be some hellacious warfare. Probably pretty soon too, if I had to guess. If I had to guess, Wink in like 40 minutes, it's going to be some craziness. And how do I know this? Because in like 40 minutes, it's like 14:45. So just a little cheat there. Thanks to the R4 who put the marker. But before that, I do want to add one new segment because yesterday on last night's drunken stream, some stuff came up and I really got confused, like why this guy with 25% expansion that's T5 did not have 260,000 troops. So thankfully, Totten, who's way smarter than I am, he said his VIP level must not be correct. So, lag steak, I owe you an apology, buddy. Like, I'm sorry I called you a retarded potato. It's not really that. It's just that, you prioritized T5 but not VIP, which I really don't know why. So, we're going to call this segment the Buns Suck segment because, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I didn't. The one person that I definitely probably owe an apology to is that dude Paynes from like the 666 clan. Like he's new there. He doesn't know anything about the history. I mean, probably most of those people do. It was only pretty much directed at Kai. Like it's just a story about what happened. Like I'm sorry, bro. I dragged you into it. Like, I probably should just cut out the part with your name. But hey, you know what? I had a good conversation with you this morning, and he seems like a pretty nice guy, like, pretty decent player. So overall, not too bad. But before all this craziness kicks off, since we have now 40 minutes, let's talk about that VIP level. That VIP level is pretty important, and I don't care if you're a free-to-play or pay-to-win player. You should be maxing as high as you can, up to 15 at least for free to play your VIP, right? So what I'm going to show here is the potential problem Lag Steak had, right? So he obviously is not VIP 13, and as T5, that's kind of problematic because, or I'm sorry, which let me go. Yeah, it's 14. So he's not 14. So chances are he's 13. So let's just start here and kind of talk about, why this is important. Now, first of all, any of your other buffs, any of, the temporary stuff that you pop, that's temporary. These VIP bonuses are forever. So you definitely want these things. And now, I think you can get to 12 pretty easy without using any gems, without doing anything. I mean, I think even on my little, like, almost brand new farm accounts, like, I'm at, like, 12 or 13. So it's pretty easy to get there. It's not a ton of points. I'll have to look back and see what those points are. But what you see with each VIP level is you get all the stuff that says new, right? And it just tags on to the other stuff you've already got. In this case, 13 becomes pretty important because your hospital capacity. Now in KVK, they already give you double, which is nice. But if you're not max VIP, you're still missing out on a huge amount because there's additional capacities that kind of come from this. So, and then troop health. So there's this, I don't know, there's like a raging debate, attack, defense, health. But what most of the testing has shown is if the stats are equal, health wins. So if you've got an item that's 5% health or 5% attack, use the health, because on a field battle, let me preface it by saying on the field, 1 versus 1, the health is going to win. In a flag, because you got a giant rally coming or you're rallying, probably with someone like Attila, you need to use attack. Um, that damage is going to be better. But if you are T4, I'm guessing you're not launching a bunch of rallies. If you are, you might be a retarded potato. So don't do that. Don't launch rallies against the flags that way. The other thing here that's important with VIP 13 is Sunset Canyon. Even in my kingdom, I see a whole lot of people that just don't take part. Like they might do one attempt so they get like the daily, but you're missing two huge benefits by not doing Canyon. The first benefit is now it gives you like materials, like these random materials, and you can get legendary. Like I got one pattern of the Hellish like legendary helmet last night. And also, this allows you to test like various commander pairings, so you can kind of see in the field, typically what it would look like. So everyone should be maxing out their Sunset Canyon attempts, and I think I'm going to do a video just kind of talking about this because there's some really really good canyon players in this KVK. There's like Easy Company from 1341, Sandals from our side, and there's a couple of those FN guys that they really have great configurations, and I'll kind of show those briefly here in a minute, but let's finish our VIP thing. So where Lagstake messed up is he pushed himself to T5 at like 67 million power, but he missed out on some really good stuff. So I mean, if you're farming or some of this stuff's important, but I'm going to focus purely on war because honestly, that's all I care about. If I wanted to farm, I wouldn't have been in like 14 KVKs. I would just set back in between each KVK and farm. But at 14, you get this extra troop capacity. This was the difference between him being able to do 250 and 260,000 troops. You want that. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot. 10K does not sound like a lot, but it is. And if you go up to, the 50% expansion, it becomes even more relevant because then you're, everybody else has 310 and you're lower. And that immediately gives them advantage. And even if you have pretty good equipment or decent stats or things like that, you're missing out here. You should definitely spend your gems, do what you got to do. Even free to play should push up to 15. Now, if troop capacity here is like the thing, why do I say 15? Well, let me just show you all the shit you get with 15. 15 was like, they were like, hey, you know what? Like, I don't know. I mean, Lilith went from like giving you 3 at a time pretty much every time to like, hey, let's just dump a bunch on it. Like, we've obviously pissed some people off. We're not very good developers, and our game is kind of laggy and shitty at times. Like, so let's just give people some stuff that really helps them. So action point recovery, this is for all you barb farmers that love this stuff. But what's really cool at 15 especially, and you should be here, it's free to play and you should be pushing to here, this is how you're going to get a lot of assistance getting to T5. Building speed and research speed. You can't unlock T5 without maxing the buildings and your research. Your research has to be maxed. That's just how it is. That's the way they configured it. So that's very important. Hospital capacity is also huge. I can't tell you how many times yesterday I looked and I was at 400,000 troops in the hospital, and thank God KVK doubles it, or I'd already be getting dead. You get march speed. I mean, it's 5%, but that 5% can make a difference. But healing speed, I mean, especially as T4, your healing times are going to be much lower, and it's going to be very valuable. The training speed, it helps free to play and pay to win. I'll be honest, it's probably a better advantage for T5 players just because it takes us so long to train those T5 troops. So any training speed, can help that. And then, of course, they just give you like 100 more AP points. Now, once you get here as a free-to-play player, I honestly don't know if I would recommend that you jump up to 16 and 17, because I think at that point it kind of flips. It flips in favor of pay to win players, and it flips away from free to play. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So here, yes, you do get AP recovery and you get extra action points. So this one's really mostly designed, I mean, this is farming barbs and gaining like moderate more material production in your city. But the healing resource consumption for a T4 is pretty low. It's actually not very high at all. So that 10% is not going to make a huge difference for you if you're purely a T4 player. I mean, obviously it's some difference, but not at any great level. So I would not. I would probably think about it. I would, if I'm free to play, I'm probably sitting at 15, and then just slowly through the natural progression, or when people buy chests and give you like the VIP points, slowly building up to 16. Now 17, this is like, again, very very weighted towards pay players and T5. The training speed, it is going to help you. I mean, 25% is 25%, but it's very expensive to get to 17. And if you aren't buying bundles and you don't have a ton of VIP points, or it's going to take a while. It would take a lot of your stuff, and I think other events at this point, especially as T4, are going to provide you a little more value. Now for T5, if you're T5, this is like a must, right? Like, you need to add this, because this is all damage. This isn't a specific type. It's all damage. So make sure you do this. And for lag stake, you need to spend your gems and move up to VIP 14. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, refill the coffee mug, get ready, and well, it looks like the war is kicking off. So so they're sending their guys like 3.5 hours early. All right, well, let me go grab a coffee, and then I guess it's time to go to war. I'll see you guys back in just a little bit.